Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Keg Tap. Today we are explaining how beer is made, so sit back and enjoy the video. How is beer made? Well, beer is essentially fermented malted barley juice with hops. The malt are sweet and the hops are bitter. They balance each other out and make a beer enjoyable. The yeast comes into the party to eat most of the sugars in the juice and convert them into alcohol. The more sugars, the more food the yeast has to eat and convert into alcohol. What goes into beer? There are essentially 4 ingredients into making beer: barley, hops, water, and yeast. The barley is there to add flavor, sweetness, and feed the yeast, creating alcohol. The hops are there to balance out the sweet barley by providing bitterness and adding some great flavor and aroma to the beer. The yeast is there to eat the sugars extracted from the barley and convert it into alcohol, and later in the process, carbonate the beer. So how do we put it all together and make beer? Alright, let's start with our ingredients. First, the barley. Our goal is to extract sugars from the barley, and to do that, we add the barley to hot water. That hot water will pull out the malt flavor and the sugars from the barley. Once we pull out those sugars and have our sweet barley water, we want to remove some of the water and provide a means to incorporate the hops into the beer. To do that, we boil the sweet barley water and add hops at key moments. Once we are done adding our hops and boiling the juice, we now have an unfermented beer, also known as wort. To create the alcohol in the beer, we introduce the yeast, which will eat the sugars and convert them into alcohol. Once the yeast has eaten most of the sugars and converted them into alcohol, we now have a glass of beer.